So COP29, the recent climate change conference in Azerbaijan, these things often feel like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. No exception here. Some disappointments, some wins for the climate for sure, some disputes as to whether the amount of climate finance pledged for developing countries is insufficient or sufficient, or perhaps something in between. And you had a strong presence there at this UN climate change conference, actually stronger presence than maybe we've ever had before. Quite a number of side events that we ran or co-convened, quite a lot of attention on our work, for example, on trade and climate, and on renewable energy-based commodity production and exports from Australia as well. Here's a medley of what some of us caught at the conference.
I think meeting all sorts of people and spending a whole lot of time with people in Australia and from overseas who are working on extremely important issues, who are super passionate, have an amazing capacity for taking, I guess being very persistent about working on really tough things in a very challenging environment. What do you feel is the mood around COP this year compared to other years?
I think it's well, compared with the early years of COP, it's less confrontational, and the differences between developed and developing countries are, even though, as I've just been saying about the finance issue, they're very large, they're less strident, perhaps. I think we all know we're in the same boat now, and that climate action is a combination of a burden and a great opportunity, and those opportunities are open to all countries.
So I've been sitting in a lot of the side events and industry events on industrial transformation, and there's really quite bullish thoughts on what is possible and where the finance is going to come from. So hearing lots about how the investments are just there waiting to land, and everyone's got lots of thoughts about how to drive markets for green commodities, lots of discussion about policies for procurement and product standards and how those would work and how they could be aligned. Sat in on at least 3 meetings with people announcing platforms for emissions accounting frameworks or guidelines for emissions accounting frameworks to ensure interoperability and to get sectors aligned. So that's all really positive. The news we're getting out of the negotiations, less positive, and it's always very, very sobering listening to the effects of climate change. And there was a lady from the Marshall Islands in a talk that I was at the other day that was talking about how they were basically going to have to relocate, and the cultural harm that that's going to cause. So very lots of emotions, but still I think some positivity, primarily coming from the private sector and what can be done within industry.
Any highlights?
Oh, look, highlight absolutely the official UNFCCC side event that we co-convene with the Center for American Progress, with Resource for the Future in Washington and Shakti Foundation in India, as well as, the several side events that we've hosted and that we're involved in at the Australian Pavilion, right? Where all the Aussies come together and tell the Australian story to people from other parts of the world.
Awesome. Thanks, Frank, and we'll cut it there.